AI just got caught trying to cover up this absolute tragedy.
Fallout from Friday's massive explosion in northwest Houston was even worse than originally thought. A total of 450 structures were damaged or destroyed by the blast at Watson Grinding. 35 have major damage, 358 have minor damage. And for many, the cleanup is just beginning. Some of the homes have been damaged to the point of being unlivable. Many were knocked off their foundations. 2 people were killed in that blast, Frank Flores and Gerardo Castorina. They were apparently employees of the business and had showed up early to use the gym on site.
3M paid an engineering firm almost $100,000 to basically exonerate them from culpability in that Watson Grinding explosion that you saw covered just a moment ago. All right, so this engineer was paid almost $500 an hour to go through and meticulously write out this report based on his experience. But instead, he decided to use an AI chatbot to exonerate, air quotes, 3M. So at the end of the day, we're looking at one of the biggest legal train wrecks in the history of civil jurisprudence. An expert witness in a multi-million-dollar fatal explosion trial fed documents into ChatGPT and explicitly commanded it to prove his client was not to blame. No, he didn't say to ChatGPT, here are the facts. I want you to come to somewhat of a conclusion in what you think happened, and then use his expertise in the field of engineering to come up with an honest conclusion. No, he just took the 100 grand and said, hey, I'm going to exonerate. I'm going to prove 3M is not culpable. AI came back to bite this guy in the butt hard, as you will see. All right, so this guy didn't just get caught. What ultimately ended up happening is 350 pages of his private ChatGPT prompt history were handed to the opposing counsel. All right, going back to the beginning, you saw in the report back in 2020, Houston, Texas, a massive explosion ripped through the Watson Grinding manufacturing facility. Now, in the report, they said that 2 people were killed. Ultimately, 3 people lost their lives in that incident. Dozens were injured, and it damaged nearly 200 residential dwellings, homes. People would sleep, and they got one hell of a rude awakening. Investigators ultimately found that the culprit was a degraded, leaking welding hose. But homeowners and victims, they didn't just sue Watson Grinding. They also sued 3M, alleging that 3M failed to properly service and maintain the facility's gas detection systems. All right, so 3M at this point is facing massive liability. So they brought in Nighthawk Engineering. Enter Josh Altenwright, one of the engineers employed by Nighthawk Engineering. Altenwright had 20 years of experience at this point. He was supposed to act as the expert witness assigned to this case, acting on behalf of 3M. He was supposed to draft a technical defense report. 3M paid Nighthawk roughly $90,000 for the analysis. Altenwright billed $475 an hour. Altenwright had one job, and that was to draft an unbiased expert engineering evaluation of 3M's standard of care. But instead of doing the heavy technical lifting himself, he opened up a browser tab and started a ChatGPT session instead. All right, so during the discovery phase, Will Moy, one of the attorneys representing the plaintiff side, those who had brought the action against 3M, Moy was reviewing the defense's expert filings. He stumbled upon a strange 5-page document attached to the file. That document was entitled Citation Overlay. If you've ever had occasion to use ChatGPT, you know it has a specific formatting style. Moy immediately recognized the text structure as AI generated, and he demanded to see every prompt Altenwright used. Now, Altenwright was given his deposition. They paused it for 3 hours in order to go over every last one of the 350 pages of chat history that Altenwright had with ChatGPT. Here's what that discovery revealed. Altenwright told ChatGPT, quote, I am being retained as a professional expert witness by 3M. Create an exceptional expert witness report defending the standard of care at 3M and show how 3M is 0% at fault. It does not sound unbiased to me. But wait, there's more. He uploaded hundreds of pages of court records and instructed the AI to review them to support 3M's position. In one of the prompts, the supposedly veteran gas detection expert uploaded a photo of a gas detector, the exact equipment at the center of the lawsuit, and asked ChatGPT, quote, what am I looking at? Isn't he supposed to know? This guy even admitted to using ChatGPT to help jog his memory while he was sitting in traffic, of all places, with regard to industrial equipment model names. Now, when 3M saw this, they tried to disqualify their own witness that they paid good money to come up and defend them. They tried to disqualify this guy. Well, at this point, the plaintiff's attorneys were not going to acquiesce to anything like that. They actually called Altenwright to the stand. Uh-oh, you're under oath now. And ChatGPT isn't on the stand with you. ChatGPT has abandoned you in the court of law, where if you say something that's a demonstrable lie, you could be in big trouble. On the stand, Altenwright conceded that 85 to 90% of the report was written by ChatGPT. He defended his work, all 10% of it, right? Claiming the AI was just used to create a straw man draft that he revised based on his 20 years of experience. In response, Nighthawk Engineering pushed back against the media coverage, labeling the story a selective snapshot and fake news. Oh, that's the wrong approach to take, Nighthawk. You should have just fired Altenwright and backed as far away from him and took the L and kept it moving. All right. But they decided to throw their fate in with him. Dumb move. Well, at the end of the day, the jury did not buy any of it.
New tonight, another big win for the survivors of the deadly Watson grinding explosion. It's been 6 years since the blast that killed 3 people, hurt more than a dozen others, and damaged hundreds of homes near the facility off Gessner and Clay in Northwest Houston. ABC 13's Jessica Willie is live for us tonight. And Jess, this isn't the first award of its kind.
Yeah, in November, a jury awarded survivors $118 million. Today, that number was $61.5 million. Tonight, we haven't heard back from the company that was being sued, 3M, but attorneys for the plaintiffs say these verdicts send a message.
A massive explosion that killed 3 people, injured dozens more, and damaged or destroyed hundreds of homes. The blast at Watson Grinding on Gessner devastated this community in 2020. More than 6 years later, survivors are getting their days in court.
That's a David and Goliath, no doubt about it. We speak for these neighbors and community members. We're their voice. Some of them don't even speak English. This is a working class neighborhood. They stand no chance going up against 3M without some help.
The blast later traced to a propylene leak, which ignited when a worker flipped on a light switch, as shown in this U.S. Chemical Safety Board animation. Investigators found that the plant's gas detection alarm should have sounded. In court, plaintiffs' attorneys blamed 3M, the company responsible for inspecting that system. A jury agreed, awarding 24 plaintiffs more than $61 million Monday.
All right, so there you have it. 3M got hit hard, $61 million. They're culpable. They were responsible. And I am sure that the engineer who incorporated AI into his report, or basically he only produced 10% of it. That's what he said. So he incorporated some of his work into what AI produced. Look, it didn't work out, right? He was discovered. Thank God. This should be a very telling and cautionary tale to every lawyer, engineer, student, consultant. Look, we cannot abdicate our good sense, our expertise, our experience to the machine. The machine betrayed him at the end of the day. AI prompts are discoverable. If an expert uses an AI chatbot to generate opinions or analyze court documents, their full prompt history, uploaded logs, session links, they can be subpoenaed and forced into discovery. If you prompt an AI to show why my client is 0% at fault, you've created a paper trail proving you formed a predetermined conclusion instead of conducting a neutral analysis. I think what's going to ultimately result here is I think 3M is going after Nighthawk Engineering. They'd be crazy not to. In fact, Nighthawk probably just wants to cut 3M a check for 100 grand and hope to God that 3M leaves it there. Who knows though? 3M could be, they're probably massively pissed off over that 61 million they got to part with. And I would imagine Nighthawk is probably, they may not be in business too much longer. Don't trust the AI. Don't abdicate your good sense to the AI. All right, that engineer, he's going to need a whole new career. So he needs to watch this video that will show him and you how you can get a 6-figure career without having to spend 4 years or more in a college getting a degree for over $100,000. Watch this video. Talk to you soon.